Awesome. Well, we are live, and today we are talking about websites feedback and critique. And so we posted on our social a few days ago just asking for some suggestions. And so if you missed that post, be sure to go back and comment. We'll probably be doing this again if you missed it so that you can submit your website, and then we will actually review your website in our next live stream completely free just to help you guys out. So be sure to check out our social here on Facebook or on Instagram, and we'll put links down if you're watching on YouTube as well. But we're just going to go over one simple site. It's going to be a little bit more in depth. So we're just going to focus on one for today's stream. But I just decided to pick a local restaurant in our area whose website was not that great. And not just to come up with the prettiest design, but really to think through some better features you could add or that they could implement for a better user experience for their customers, and hopefully to build more orders and just make their brand a little bit more professional and easy to use. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I've got their site pulled up right here. And so this is an Indian restaurant just around the corner. Really good, not sponsored, but they are great. We love going there. And as you can see, the website is pretty busy right now. There's a lot of harsh colors, and I'm going to go through some specific things. But just to kind of scroll through, I'm just going to focus on the homepage. You'll notice they have, 5, 7 other pages, but we're just looking at the homepage today. And you can see they've got a lot of information that's really helpful or interesting, rather, that like kind of explains their philosophy and what it is they do. They have a video walkthrough, then they have their menu, and you can order online. So the functionality is pretty good, but I think there's a lot that we could change here. And so we actually have a tool that we use for our clients to just kind of generate a report and just kind of audit their website. We focus on 5 categories that they could improve. And so those categories are SEO, usability, performance, social, and security. And so you can see overall they have a C rating, which isn't that bad. And their SEO is great. It's really easy to find them. If you search Masti or local Indian food, they're going to be one of the first to pop up. So they're doing really great in that category. But you can see even after usability, it just really starts to fall off the charts. And a lot of this does really come down to the design. Usability and performance is going to mostly be the design. How easy it is to find information, how easy is the website to use, place an order or whatever your call to action is. And so, I just think we can improve this. Now, if you're interested in getting an audit like this, again, you can drop your website link in the description or in a comment on any one of these posts, and we will take a look at it and we can go even more in depth. I'm not going to go too into depth with the audit, but this is just something I noticed we could improve. So really, we're going to be focusing on the usability and performance in this video, since that relates to the design the most. So as you can see, this is there's just a lot going on, again, like I said. And I think overall, one thing initially, the very first thing I reacted to is when you land on the page. I'll just refresh here. It immediately opens up an email pop-up, and that is just very frustrating. I would never do this, as no matter what industry you're in. It's just not a great feature, because most of the time people aren't trying to find your newsletter. And you can still advertise it on your page, but it just adds another button for them to click, and they're just going to get distracted and may even just exit out of the website. And so that's the first thing. I would definitely take that out. And I think overall, there's just a lot of harsh colors. Now, because this is a restaurant, there are certain colors that you want to lean toward. Usually it's green, yellow, orange, and red, kind of that spectrum, mostly in the green, just kind of keeping it light. It also kind of, if you're eco-friendly or if you're a vegan restaurant, for example, that just kind of plays into the universal green, eco-friendly color. So I think, they've got their base colors are pretty good. So we're going to start with the same logo. We didn't touch the logo, but you can see even just this navigation is just taking up way too much space. The logo is way too big. It doesn't need to be this big. The Masti text is already really legible, but most people aren't going to be able to read what the tagline is, the fun, Indian, and street eats. It's already so small that you would have to make the logo so much bigger to even see that. And then you're taking up way too much space. So my first thing would be to scale this logo probably 20-30% of the size. And there's also just way too many links in here. It's very confusing when you land on the page. If you're just trying to find the menu, it gets lost. Firstly, you're going to find, all these images because they're very bright colors and very busy with they're changing. There's text that's animating on, and then the logo is so big. So you're looking here, then you're looking at the logo, then you're trying to figure out where your other links are. And then if you look close enough, you'll find menu. So it's just a little hard to find. And I think we can make that a little bit better. And so that's one thing with the navigation. There's just too many links. And then the other thing is when you scroll down, there's nowhere to navigate to the other pages. So if you wanted to go to another page, you have to scroll all the way back up and you have to click on those pages. So that's just something frustrating for a user, and they can get really lost in your website, especially with a page like this. It's a little long. And so, if you're getting to the bottom and you're like, oh, well, I want to go find how I can be a franchisee or how I can see their dinner menu or something, you got to scroll all the way up. You're going to get distracted by all the other things you see on the way, and then you're going to go find the menu. So that's one thing with the navigation. The next thing with the hero, what we call a hero, if you don't know, this is kind of your top photo that kind of represents your brand or your business. And usually you put that up. It's kind of your hero of your story. And usually this is a really professional photo. You want to put a nice tagline in there. And that's what the hero section does. And I think it's just a little busy. There's a lot happening. The images themselves are just very busy. Even without the text, they're advertising, they're putting text inside the images. So you're trying to read this, the store hours, and then it's changing. And, you can hopefully see how that can be frustrating and confusing. And there's no way to really pause it, I don't think. You just kind of navigate. It's just taking up a lot of space. So there's too much information. There's a lot of harsh colors. I think we can fix that. And then the culture section, this is really interesting. And this really does a lot for a restaurant, because a lot of restaurants are proud about their values, or hopefully they are. And they want to put those up at the front. And I think that's a great section to have here at the top, but it's just difficult to read. This background, as creative as it might be on its own, it's way too much happening when there's so much text on top of it. So that's one thing. And, right beneath it, they have this video. And I think, I'm going to try and mute this because I don't want to, let's see here. Yeah, so this video, I'm going to mute it, hopefully. And you can see, it's not the nicest quality video. It's not really showing much about the actual restaurant. Having gone to this restaurant, eaten there a lot of times, I don't think it really represents, it's really poor quality, which is fine. If you can't afford it, then that's okay, but you just don't need to advertise it so far up on the page. Maybe you have a button at the very bottom that says watch our store walkthrough, and you could put that there. But in terms of arranging from most important information to least important, this video is definitely not more important than the menu, for example, which is right beneath it. So I would, for one, if just move that video down. But if you're going to have a video embedded on your page, you never want it to be to hide the controls. You'll notice that there's no controls when I play, and this is just a YouTube video. But obviously, I think they've actually taken the controls off. So that's just something you don't want to do. It just makes it difficult for users. Now, I know, because I watch a ton of YouTube videos and I'm in the web space, I know that I can click on it and pause it. But if this video just starts playing with a lot of music, the customers are just going to be disoriented. And you just never want your customers to do that or to be put in that position. I think the menu is really great. It really separates, what their categories are. They explain their pick to and how it all works, what their prices are. So I actually ended up keeping a lot of this in some of the mock-ups that I'll get to in a minute. But again, that background, just too busy. I think some of the fonts could be cleaned up. It's just, it's tough when everything has this kind of handwritten font. It doesn't give a lot of contrast. It just takes a little extra long to read it. Beneath that, this About Us section, there's just way too much of the same color, this like kind of dark gray on a black background. You really have to squint to read this. And so if you have, if your market's an older market, you don't want to be having them trying to strain their eyes just to see what it says. And I think it's very confusing, some of these sections, because they combine a lot of things. Like even coming back up here, it's kind of like their 3 values, which is great, but then there's just a store walkthrough with no explanation of the company. So they're kind of grouped awkwardly together. And then down here, they're trying to promote their app and order online and explain about the company. So you just want to keep everything really simple and condensed for each section. The map doesn't work, so that's one easy, quick fix. And then the call to action really needs to be very clear what you want your customers to do. And the call to action is like the first call to action you don't see it on the homepage until the very, very bottom down here where it says order online. And so if that's the call to action, you want to put that at the very top, so that if someone who knows the company, like me, or the restaurant rather, I don't need to know about their values. I love the restaurant, so I want to just go there and place an order. And I don't want to scroll through all of this other text and stuff that, I've already read before. It's not relevant to me in that moment. You just want to make it easy for your customers. And there just seems to be a lot of different call to actions, read more, become a franchisee, order online, download our app. So it's just a little too much. And then lastly, in the footer, I think you could just combine some of these sections to just make it a little more condensed and easy, just kind of shorten the page a little bit so it's not too much information that you're throwing at your customers. Now, I know this is very specific to Masty and the restaurant. Again, nothing against the food. The food's great. I'm just critiquing the website. But hopefully you can kind of see the thought process behind that. Even if you're not in the food and beverage industry, if you're doing makeup or if you're doing decor or something, hopefully you can see the thought process on how you want to arrange at least your homepage. Your homepage is one of the most important selling factors of your online presence, really. That's where most people are going to land. I might go click the menu up here, and I might click order catering, but I'm not going to definitely not going to click franchisee. I'm not interested in that. Probably won't click news. Gallery, I might just see it on Yelp. So it might be important, but it's not that important. So there's just way too much happening up here. And so kind of thinking through, what is the main call to action for your customers? What do you want them to do when they land? And how can we make that information really easy for them to find? And so we can just go ahead and jump into my redesign. So this is what I came up with. This actually took me less than an hour to put together. And, I kind of just copied and pasted some of the text, and I even left in some stock photos in there. Obviously, these images are not taken from the Yelp page, because there are some rough images, just, someone's iPhone. And you really want like a professional picture to be on the top of the page for your customers to see. And so you can see immediately what the call to actions are: order online or view our menu. Now, obviously, you can't click on this. I didn't go that far. I just only did the home page. None of these other links work. I'm just kind of arranging it really quickly. But that would be what you would want to immediately land. Most people are going to want to order. But if they don't, maybe they don't know what you offer, then you want to give them the option to look at the menu. You're not advertising, donate now or become a franchisee or learn about the history. We can still talk about that. We're going to put it way down the page. It's not that important. And so just jumping back to the original, I kind of just took some of the other copy from here. And copy could be its own whole 6-week course, 6-month course. It is very, very important to your web design. I'm not going to be talking about that, but I just kind of copied it. I think they had some good headers in here. Just kind of a one-liner that explains the company. Relish the food culture of India, and then they talk about how it's the #1 street eats, or they're advertising street eats and one of their values. And so I just kind of combined that and just kind of copied and pasted a little bit, but I didn't put too much text. I made it really simple. And you'll notice on this design that I put a lot of white space. So there's a lot of white backgrounds, and it just makes it really easy for everyone to read, especially because there is a lot of text. And so you'll see that I put their same values, same pictures even. I kept some of those. But you'll notice that some of these call to actions, instead of putting a full button, like the one up here, where it's like a big green background, looks like a billboard, I kind of just put a flyer or like a business card is like the kind of the comparison, if that makes sense to you. You know, it's important if they want to learn more, they can see that it's a hyperlinked piece of text. They can click on it and it would take them there, but it's not the most important thing. I put some stock photos. Obviously, you know, this is like a marketplace, just, you know, fruits and vegetables, doesn't really have that much to do, but I just left it there. I think it's interesting for people to see, and especially if this, you know, we're showing the restaurant, it'd be really interesting to people. And you could even have that integrate with Yelp or something probably, and then it kind of pulls in new pictures every few days or few weeks. For the menu, you'll see I really kept a lot of the same layout. Now, these are all images because I just didn't feel like typing it all up. So that's why I kept some of the same fonts. But for the rest of it, I just went to this simple font that I worked on with this theme. You just make it really easy to read. And it's clear to see that this is the menu. And, you know, even this could be a little bit bigger or bolder, but it's very easy to read stuff. And then again, you're putting call to actions, order online or view the full menu. So these are kind of just the features or the specials or whatever. So that's important. But then the next thing you want to do is have people go to the next step. So you put a call to action right there. So once they've read through the menu, you know, if, again, kind of using me as an example, I'm just thinking through, if I wanted to go in there and order a dinner for my family, I know the restaurant, I don't need to read that much stuff, but maybe they have a new special. I'm like, oh, cool, this Masti masala pasta, I really want that. Let me just go ahead and order. Now I didn't need to go to another page and view the menu, read through it, and then compare options. I already know it. So I clicked on that and now I can say order online, and that works really smoothly. And then I just kind of simplified the about us a little bit. Again, just using a stock photo, but this could be something, you know, a picture of the staff or the owner or the restaurant itself, the building, and then just putting a very simple one paragraph. And then if it's, you know, if you want to keep reading, learn about the history, we put another little business card call to action there, not a huge shouting, you know, button. And then we had some of these statistics in here. You know, it's just something visually for people to see, you know, if there are some impressive statistics. You know, 2 locations isn't that big. I just was filling it with stuff. But, you know, if you've had, I don't know, 1 million orders or something like that, you know, it's cool to some people. And I think it just also adds some brand credibility. So you could always edit that. And then, you know, just adding some quick testimonials. They actually, coming back here, I believe if you go to review, this is how they get testimonials. So you go to the review page, which is already hard to find. We've talked about that a lot. And then not only do they not have the text, but they have images of someone who has handwritten a review. Now, in theory, this is kind of a cool concept because it shows, like, look how many people are visiting our store, and we have this cool wall of success or wall of, you know, fame or whatever you want to call it, where people are writing. And I've seen a lot of restaurants do this, but it does not work when you come to a website. People are not going to go click on all these images. And even when I was typing up the testimonials for this redesign, I didn't even want to go click on this and try and read this person's handwriting. It's just way too much work. You want to put your testimonials very high up on your page, or at least on your homepage, because it gives you so much credibility when someone else is talking about how great your brand is. And it's a verified purchase. You know, you could put a, one thing I would change immediately, even though I made a mistake here, would be to add, you know, maybe 5-star rating and put a little like actual 5 stars. And you could even put a little check mark that says verified purchase. So people know that it's authentic and it's genuinely good praise about the company. And then I just made the locations really easy. There's only 2 locations. And what I did is I actually just went and embedded the Google Maps, because that way, I mean, you know, most people use Google Maps, and so it's easy for them to quickly see where it is. And if they don't know, you know, that you can just click directions, and now we've been taken to Google Maps and they can just put in their current location or whatever, and they're good to go. and that just makes it easy for people to find. And then, the app is cool. I think a lot of people won't use the app. I think it's going to be a very specific use case for maybe someone like me who, again, goes there regularly. Maybe the app I haven't even looked at the app, but I'm assuming the app would be easier to use and make orders very quickly. So it's cool. And I think you can advertise that. Again, it also just shows that you've gone the extra step as a brand to make an app. And that's cool. But again, you don't need to be advertising. If we go back to the original, I believe on one of the slides, yeah, here we go. So almost on every slide, actually, they have these icons, and it just doesn't really help anyone. I mean, they are clickable. So to their credit, it's, you don't have to go through too many steps, but still, I just think, it's not that important. Put it down here, make it one of the last sections. You'll see I put franchisee way down here. And one thing I actually skipped over was the navigation at the top. So you probably already saw that in the first thing, but you see how small I made the logo. You can still read Masty. There was no chance of reading the subtitle, but we couldn't really read it before anyway. But we shrunk that down, and I simplified it to 5 or 6 pages and made it really clear. We have a homepage, which you could even take out. People will click on the logo sometimes, and it takes them back. And then we've got a menu, catering, about. If you want to see pictures of the restaurant and the food, you click that gallery. If you have any questions, you hit contact. You could even take out the contact. You could probably even take out gallery. I just made it really simple for people to find. Again, comparing to the old one, I just don't think news is that relevant. You could combine a lot of these pages. It's just people aren't that interested when they're buying food. And I get that a lot of restaurants, I don't know the industry as well as they do, of course. So maybe they just have a lot of investors who are interested in this information. But even still, I think you could even just make a, press or business page and combine a lot of that information just for the sake of your orders. But then again, it comes down to what your call to action is, what your end result is for your website. If your goal is to have people order quickly and find your menu easily, then you would go with something like I Designed. We threw together, just so that it's easy to see the information, very quick call to actions, land, click, done, you got your food. But if 90% of your audience or your web traffic is trying to find out how to become a franchisee, how to, partner with local communities or, whatever, then that's a different use case. So but the point is the same, that you still want to think through what that end result is. So just to finish it off, we got the locations, we got the apps, franchisee, and then I just combined this footer down here. I put a little sitemap, so you can click on links, and you could even put other links here, like the news and blog and other stuff. And then put the Masty and the logo, and then I put the buttons for the download. So this was something really quick. I didn't spend too much time on it, and the design is kind of just half thrown together. There's some things I would still fix, but hopefully you can see just how taking 20-30 minutes, evaluating the current website, thinking through, again, your end goal, thinking through what you want your customers to experience. If your goal is to keep them on the website as long as possible, then you might have a lot of text like the blogs or the events, so they can read about what you're doing in the community or whatever. But just think through it. And then I think a general rule is to add more white space in your web designs when you have a lot of text. It helps even if you have a little bit of text. But now this doesn't necessarily mean actual white space. If your brand is like an off-white, or even if it's like a dark gray or black, you could invert it. But white space, maybe I could say negative space is a better word for it. Just give a lot of breathing room to your content, and that will really help people to navigate your website. So that's kind of it for this design. As this is a live website, by the way. If you're interested, you can go to masty.blueskylabs.io. And just kind of play around with it for yourself if you're interested. But if you are curious about how we could improve your website, definitely be sure to drop your link in a comment on either if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, or you can find us on Instagram and you can drop a comment on one of those links, or just message us directly. There's lots of ways to give us your website, and we will take the next event and look through 2, maybe 3 different websites that you guys send us and do it completely for free just to help you guys out. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this helped you, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks.